Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination E 2-bike platform rack and how it fits on the 2018 Subaru Outback. So this is one of my favorite bike racks for electric bikes. It does have or require a little bit more work and a little bit more time to get your bikes on there and to use the rack, but it makes up for it with the great weight capacity, the almost 90-degree tilt, and the included ramp. So we'll talk about those features, just enough to talk about the Subaru Outback. If you want more specs and measurements, don't forget to check out the full review. Where this first impressed me was the tilt away feature. So if you have your Outback and you want to open up your hatch even with your bikes on, you just rotate this knob just enough where you can push that out of the way. And now it's ready to tilt. So are you ready to tilt? You can even use your Outback to brace yourself as you push out on the rack. And notice how it's an almost 90-degree tilt. And now we have plenty of clearance between the hatch door and our bike rack, meaning we can grab whatever we need, hang out by our hatch without having to take our heavy electric bikes off. Once you've gotten what you needed, you just lift up on the rack. You can use your bikes for extra support and then pop that lever back in, and don't forget to tighten it down before you drive away. Now this has a 70-pound weight capacity, which is really impressive even compared to other electric bike racks. The reason you can get that much of a weight capacity is because of all the different touch points. There's 1, 2, 3 wheel straps and then a locking frame mount. So when you want to take your bike off, those wheel straps are accessible from the back. You just press the lever to release or disengage the strap, and then you can take it up and out of the way. And before we tackle that frame mount, let's talk about the included ramp. The one downside to this is it's not attached to the bike rack, so you're going to have to store it inside of your hatch or in your back seat. But once you have the knob loosened in the back, you just put that on the tab on your rear cradle and just let it drop. You don't have to tighten it down or anything. It's just going to sit there ready for you to take your bike off. This is a locking frame mount. You can see that there's a lock core in it. And that way, once you have it unlocked, you're then able to loosen this knob, which loosens the clamp around your frame. You can move this frame back and forth, and that way for your different size frames, whether you have a step-through frame or a mountain bike or a road bike, this can help fit around it. And once that's finally loose, just pop that clamp out of the way, and now you can glide your bike off. So just avoid those handlebars, make sure it's straight. It's so much easier than having to lift it off. So this has that wing-shaped design that the Destination series is known for. That's to help out with your different wheelbases, because you have those straps that can rotate back and forth to accommodate them. Now on the straps, they have a rubber padding on top. Just make sure that's centered over your wheels to give it some grip as well as cushion. You even have this front wheel chock with a strap. Now the maximum tire width you can carry with this rack is going to be up to 4.5 inches. I do like the angle of the ramp though, and that is going to help whether you have your thin road bike tires or your wider fat tires with getting it up and onto the rack. Now I'm going to fold this mast down so we can start getting into the compact or portable position. You have to start by removing these straps, and that way you can lower this lever. So the straps are just to help give it support. Once the levers are loose, you can then tilt the entire mast down and then tighten it back up and put the straps back on. Now this is pretty compact for a 2-bike platform rack. So measuring from our bumper to the end of the platform, it sits at 32 inches, and if it's in the folded down position, that's going to be 40 inches of length. Now for the ground clearance you have with this rack, measuring at the end of the rack to the ground, it's 17, and from the center to the ground, it's 21. So ground clearance is important if you're going off-road, or if you have steep inclines like driveways or hills, or if you have 70-pound electric bikes that you have to lift up, that's when you're going to appreciate having a ramp. You do have the option to make this more compact, and it starts by taking this clip off and then pulling the pin out. So once that's released, you now have the ability just to step up, get yourself situated, and then lift up on the rack. It's actually not that heavy, but don't forget to put the pin right back in. And now your bike rack is folded up against your Outback. So this is gonna be a great way to store it inside of your garage or take up less space behind your car. So back to where we measured earlier, it now sits 15 inches away from the bumper. If you don't have much space inside of your garage, or if you need to park into a really tight spot, this is how you'll have it. The downside to this is you won't be able to open up your hatch without having to take that pin out and then drop it back down. Some other things about living with this bike rack folded up is your tail lights. You'll still be able to see your tail lights shining past that bike rack. This does sit high up, it looks at first, but it's right where your rear windshield wiper is. So you'll still have pretty much full visibility out of your rear window. Now notice where your license plate and your backup camera is. Your backup camera sits right here, right through that opening of the bike rack. So what's gonna happen is when you turn into reverse, you are gonna see the bike rack through the view, but you'll be able to see kind of through the bike rack, and if there's a car behind you, that's gonna be visible. If that's a major issue for you though, you can go ahead and drive around with it in the down position, and then you'll have full visibility. Now it might set off your rear proximity alarm though, so that's definitely something to think about. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So my personal thoughts about the Hollywood Rack's Destination E is it pairs really well with the Subaru Outback, especially for electric bikes. I am a big fan of this bike rack because electric bikes can get heavy, and it's hard to find a rack that is strong and sturdy enough to carry those heavy bikes, but also make it easier for you to load and unload those bikes. If your focus is just getting to the destination and saving your strength for the ride, this might be a good option for you. The downside really is all the different straps and all the different processes it takes to tilt it away, to fold it up, things like that. They're not difficult, they're just tedious. So if you're looking for the complete opposite, maybe check out the Kuat piston. That's gonna be a really cool and fast, easy to use electric bike rack, but very different in design. So check that out here at etrailer.com. Otherwise, this is a great option for the heavy electric bikes or bikes of different shapes and sizes. You saw it right here. This was the Hollywood Rack's Destination E 2-bike platform rack on the 2018 Subaru Outback.